and welcome to revision classes on television. Today, we will be having a session in English language. Our guide is Andrew Oshunde, and our focus today is Summary Exercise 2016 SSCE.
In the light of this program, we'll be looking at the hints that the candidate is required to know in attempting a summary question during his SSCE examination. Like I said, our focus is on summary. From the last edition, we looked at the definition, and we said summary writing is writing in precise, short, and straight to the point expressions. Summary in SSCE has been made a little bit simpler. You are not expected to write in bogus form, talking about paragraph. But SSCE requires you to write in simple, straight, short sentences. Remember, you are writing in sentences and not in phrases. For us, like we said, today we'll be looking at 2016 summary exercise. But I think it is going to be of essence if we go through again those points that you need to know. Summary exercise is a very technical one, and so you have to be wary of the technicalities, or else you will not score your full mark. We said earlier on we have the passage for 2016 before us that we want to analyze for today's program, and without wasting much of our time, I want to read through that passage. Read the following passage carefully and answer the question on it. The announcement in 2011 that the world population had hit the 7 billion mark seemed to have taken many people by surprise. Most people wondered how humanity could have grown by 1 million within 2 decades. However, anyone conversant with factors relevant to human growth should understand this phenomenal increase. Let us examine the factors that prove the rise in population. To begin with, think of the health facilities obtainable some centuries earlier compared with now. Man's knowledge of medical care was appalling some centuries ago. Today, with medical centers within easy reach of most people, and with drugs available to combat virtually all forms of diseases, death rates has been reduced drastically, while life expectancy has risen significantly in most countries. This has caused a great reduction in infant mortality and subsequently increased the number of senior citizens. Similarly, There is the vital role of education. The spread of education has created a great level of awareness about human welfare and health. Even primary school pupils know the dangers of drinking unwholesome water, living in an unclean environment, and ignoring simple rule of hygiene. Besides, education has deflated the various myths and superstitions that pervaded our fathers' lives. Nutrition is also a significant contributor as agricultural practices continue to be aided by serious research efforts and as tools for farming the land continue to be more available. Food supply has been greatly enhanced in an unprecedented way. Today, more food crops can be available on less land area than was the case. Thus, the monster of hunger that used to cause starvation and death is being progressively tamed. Finally, think of the relative security humanity has enjoyed in the past few decades. In the past, country major was a common phenomenon. Wars that ravaged Europe and Africa for many decades have almost been forgotten. Although there are still skirmishes in some part of the world, these have not been serious enough to bring about a significant change in population. What then is the next result? Each factor translates to a healthier, safer, and longer life. Consequently, our population multiply at constant rates, so we need not be surprised that the world population is 7 billion. Indeed, in the next quarter of a century, another billion may be added. By the end of this century, we may have double the present number. But in this lies another danger, that of gross overpopulation. If the present trend continues unabated, the planet Earth may soon become too small to house mankind. Example, arable land may be grossly inadequate to support food production for the very large population. Also, if the population continue to grow unchecked, there will be too many people who may contribute to polluting the environment. Just imagine the amount of waste that will be generated daily by homes, industries, and institutions. These wastes and debris, if not collected regularly and disposed of properly, may lead to environmental degradation. We should therefore watch it. This is a passage, simple and straight to the point. One thing as candidates you should know about summary passage is the fact that it is entirely different from comprehension passage, because in comprehension passage there are two approaches to it. The question might be form of inference, expecting or requiring the student to infer, and on the other hand it might be recall questions. But it is entirely different from summary. Summary is direct, and to a greater degree it is recall questions. Those questions that you see, as we'll see later on, will expect the candidate to recall, and that recalling is from the passage. You are not expected to infer. You are not expected to give your own opinion. And again, like we're saying, you should not live directly. You should not copy blindly. Your choice of words should be that the entire meaning of the passage will not be vitiated. So we'll go back to the question under the passage. For this exercise, we have two levels of question. Question A and question B. And they are all recall questions, like I said earlier on. That is summary passage for you. Your questions expect you to recall your answer from the passage, and you should put it entirely in your own word. Level A, in 4 sentences, 1 for each, summarize the factor that has promoted the rapid increase in world population. Question B, in 2 sentences, 1 for each, summarize what is likely to follow the continuing rapid population growth. From these 2 levels, you are expected to give 6 sentences. 4 sentences in level A and 2 sentences in level B. And I think there is need for us to see the high points of the passage. We have said earlier on that your answers are expected to follow the format of recall. You are recalling the answers from the passage, and they must be in sentence form. They must be in sentence form and not in phrases. Our answers, the approach is either 2. You use one or the other. The first one, we saw the independent sentence method. The independent sentence method allows you to write your sentences independently. And the preamble method. The preamble approach entails that you give a preamble that will cover the phrases you are giving under. And again, the phrases you are giving under the preamble, when it is aligned with the preamble that you have given, like we saw in our last edition, it must give you a simple sentence. Don't forget that it is summary, and one of the high points is the fact that you are not expected to join 2 ideas or mumble ideas together. A point for a sentence. Now, candidates, they have always asked, how do we arrive at these points? How do we arrive at these main ideas? It is simple. For every paragraph, there is always a topic sentence. From the passage that we've just read, we have been able to identify the main issues. And number 1, we call it issues from the passage. This will guide us into getting to our sentences. Number 1, we saw improvement in medicine. Number 2, spread of education. Number 3, improved agricultural practices. Number 4, peaceful coexistence. Number 5, the earth becoming too small to accommodate. And the 6th point, population growth may bring about population may bring about, overpopulation and degradation of the environment. These are the points that when you look closely into the passage that has been read, from paragraph 1 to the last paragraph, you'll be able to get these points. And these are the points that your question requires you to put into sentence form. And we'll just go ahead to see how we translate all these points into sentences using either the independent sentence method or the preamble approach. Using the independent sentence approach, we'll have those points as this. Remember, question A or level A is asking in 4 sentences, one for each, summarize the factor that has promoted the rapid increase in world population. Okay, let's title it Possible Answers. A. 1. Medical care has improved greatly. 2. Improved agricultural practices have made food available to more people. 3, the spread of education contributed to the increase in population. And the last on this level is the world has become more peaceful. These are the 4 sentences that is required of you to tell us why population has been on the increase. And if you see from these sentences, you are not expected to carry illustrations. Remember, talking about the world becoming more peaceful, we never made references to the wars. We never made references to all the skirmishes. They are not important. Now, for level B, we are expected to write 2 sentences in this regard. And from the other points that we have raised earlier on, we have these 2 sentences below. 1, continuing rapid growth in population may make the earth too small for habitation. 2, continuing rapid growth in population may lead to pollution. This is a slash, meaning or, may lead to pollution or may lead to degradation of the environment. If you have done something like this too for the level B, you are very close to getting your full mark. Before we go to the other approach, I want to make reference to some things that is required of you to do. The question and the passage, as you go into this exercise, you should be able to recall those main words. Remember, we told you that you are not to use use the words that the passage has provided or the sentences completely. But there is an instance where you don't have a choice than to use these main words. For instance, in the questions before us, we have improvement in medicine, we have agricultural practices, we have the earth becoming too small. The word earth in this regard cannot be replaced. So the question in summary, or when you are trying to answer these questions, you are required to borrow leaf or take those words that are main in the passage or in the question to write your answers, so that it will not be as if you are manufacturing it from somewhere else. Remember, we have said that your personal opinion is not required in summary. Let's see preamble method for this same question. There is a danger that is inherent in using preamble method, and we stated it in our last class, that you should be careful because the mistake you make in the preamble affects all your correct answers, and so you should be very, very careful. So for level A, if we're using the preamble method, we'll have a preamble like this. The factor that has promoted the rapid growth in the world's population is sentence 1. Improvement in medical care. 2. Improvement in agricultural practices. 3. The spread of education. And 4, peaceful coexistence. This is a preamble. When you take it in isolation with the preamble, it gives you a full sentence. That is the beauty of it. And we're trying to explain in our last class that before now, you will not be penalized when you say the factors that have. And when you pull when you pull one of your answers to it, it gives you serious grammatical blunder. In that regard, you are not expected to use preamble method when you are not sure of the technicalities involved.
That's the much we can take today on the program. Join us next time for another educating session.